This is a game review of Star Wars Outlaws and what I really think. Thanks to Ubisoft for providing me early access to this game so that I can make this review. Now I'm going to break down this video into a few sections. The first section is going to be talking about the graphics of the game. Now while the open world looks fantastic from afar, when you pay attention to closer details, it feels a little smudgy. I don't know if it's like just me, but it feels grainy, it feels smudgy, something feels a little off to me. Even though I have my quality set to ultra and it's doing the best of everything that it can, it still somehow seems off when you look to the closer details of things. But if you look to anything in the distance, like the backdrop, it looks fantastic. The backdrop looks amazing. Everything looks great from far. But once you're close to it, it's a little bit of a different story. I think you can also notice it when you go into like photo mode. You can really see the grain to the footage. There's like a lot of grain. And on characters, they are like a little bit blurry. I don't know, like it's this weird kind of effect that like has around the surroundings and the characters in the game. It only becomes an issue once you really start paying attention to those details, but if you're not paying attention and you're just blasting your way through, you can easily forget and just realize that the game looks beautiful from afar. Moving on to our next topic, gameplay. Now there are things that I like and there's also things that I dislike about the gameplay of this game. One of the things I like is the speeders. The speeders are fantastic, dude. I wish I had a racing game that was just about using the speeders. The speeders are really cool. They're really fun. In fact, like there's some races in the game that are just, you know, all about, you know, using your speeder and like racing. It feels really cool to traverse the world like this. It looks really beautiful when you do it, and it feels really cool. I think this open world exploration is really fun and cool using the speeder. Now, apart from general exploration, there is a lot of sneaking around and exploring and doing stuff that feels like I'm playing Jedi Survivor, but like not as good as Jedi Survivor. Some of it feels a bit wacky. I like the ideas they had with the gameplay that this game has. Like the ideas that they wanted to do were fantastic. I just feel like it wasn't fully delivered on what it wanted to be. And while the sneaking around and the exploring and the parkour is you know, cool and all, I often feel like the game doesn't really give you much of a direction about where you're supposed to go. You often get like a marker on your map. You can hold the tab key to like, you know, pinpoint it to a location, but oftentimes there are a bunch of walls between you and you're like, how do I get there? And the game doesn't explain to you that the entrance is actually not near the marker. It's like you gotta double back and then figure out a way through some random pathway, through a random door, a random vent in the wall to figure out how to get there. I found that really frustrating. It happened a lot. Now, talking about combat in the game is you have a blaster that doesn't have ammo, but when you go ahead and you overheat it, you'll see that it needs to reheat. And if you don't reheat it, it takes a while to reload. But if you go ahead and you know, heat it at the right time, you can go ahead and instantly use it again. But if you go ahead and you misclick it, now you're stuck like, you know, just sitting here with a overheating gun that takes longer to start shooting again. And this really slows you down in combat. Now, there are other guns in the game that you can pick up, but they're not something you can take with you. You can't put it in your inventory. It's kind of like you pick it up, you use it, and then you're done with it because it has limited ammunition. It's almost like a supercharged pickup that lasts for a few seconds and then you like move on with your life. It feels very weird. I'm not gonna lie, the combat in this game feels jarring. I now know why stormtroopers have terrible aim, because these blasters are not that accurate for the most part. The combat definitely leaves me wanting more out of it, to be honest. The game really favors you play more as a assassin rather than, you know, somebody who jumps into battle, you know, guns blazing. It definitely favors you hitting a stormtrooper with your tiny little wrist and knocking them out, even though they're wearing full armor. I mean, you know, it make sense, please. All right, so let's talk about the spaceship. The spaceship, man, I just came from playing No Man's Sky before I started playing this, and it was not a good idea to go from No Man's Sky to this space game because I am bothered by the way the spaceship moves in this game. I feel like it should have just been unnecessary. I feel like it's another thing that they added that didn't quite fully add to the experience. It just made it feel like, okay, this really needs a little bit more work. I find myself very frustrated when I have to go into space in this game because you can't turn the ship left and right. Like, you can't rotate the ship. Like, it feels like there is a right side up, and in space there is no right side up. So ultimately, I dislike the way space feels in this game. Now let's talk about the controls. The controls in the game are pretty standard. You know, you're walking around, you're sprinting, you have sneaking, crouching. It plays very much like how an Assassin's Creed would play, you know, with focus on like takedowns, hiding in bushes. It's much better to play the sneaker instead of like the guns blazing type in this game. Sorry, I was saying. Now the controls are competent, they do what they say they do, though it does feel a little weird. Like sometimes when you're, you know, jumping from one thing to another, there's like this weird like physics mismatch where it doesn't match what you're doing, like swinging and doing these things. It just feels a bit odd. Moving on to the sound in the game, the sound is very good. The voice acting is very good, as what you'd expect from a Ubisoft game. Now, I can't display the music for you, but you can think Star Wars music. It has impact. You know what to expect, and that's what you hear when you play the game. So the sounds are great. Like the sounds there, I can't flaw the sound in this game at all. It sounds really cool. Now, for my final topic is the game fun? Now, this is a question that I have both yeses and nos to. The game has plenty of potential, but I feel like it falls short on things that it shouldn't have to. I feel like if the game had a better navigation system of like where to go for different quests, like, okay, cool, you've been stuck here for like, 10 seconds. Here's a waypoint or like a dotted line to lead you to how to complete this objective, where to go, how to get there. Like I feel like it needs a little bit more hand holding. I'm not gonna lie. Like I just felt really like unsure of what I was supposed to do, where I was supposed to go, what is my next objective. Now don't get me wrong, not every single quest is a dead end or a puzzle struggle. I think it's very interesting seeing that you get to like choose which factions you want to side with in the game. It definitely gives you a feel of like you're in control of this world. You influence what happens around you. It gives you the sense of that's happening. Like you're the one in charge having this playthrough. I'm trying to do this review and like I keep riding around on the speeder and it feels like I'm playing GTA 5 and I'm in a car roaming around the world for the first time doing nothing for like hours. That's what driving the speeder feels like. It's really cool. I think the game would be more fun if the combat just felt better. Now, the game has been a very 50-50 kind of experience for me. 50% has been like really cool, riding the speeder's fun, exploring the open world, going to new planets, meeting the characters, seeing how everybody interacts. That's really cool. Even the sneaking around is cool once I know where I'm going. Another really fun bit is using Nyx, which is like your kind of like pet creature thing that kind of does objectives for you. It has like a scanning device. It's like your eagle from Assassin's Creed, but except it's cuter and it does like a pretend die thing. When you go ahead and you like send it to, do a distraction, it kind of just goes, and then like just pretends to die, which is like the cutest and like funniest looking thing. Having Nyx as a companion in the game really adds to the gameplay, and I think it's one of the more fun mechanics to interact with and have along with you throughout the game, and you definitely feel it, and I feel like that's a cool thing. And that's everything I have to say about Star Wars Outlaws, and thanks for watching this video.